Oh, Foxy, it's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
All right, everyone, we're going to get started with our next interview. We have two of the team members with Regal Cinemas that are here today at MomoCon. So we have the press outlet ask the first question.
Cardinal from Cardinal Pictures. So what goes into the creative process of what the fans coming into to see the displays and everything to your display here at the 20th year of MomoCon?
Yeah, it's super fun to be here. This is the first convention that we're bringing a booth to as Regal Cinemas. We are obviously movie lovers ourselves. We know that movie lovers are at these conventions, and we got the call from MomoCon to come up with something exciting and fun to create for the convention. We thought Toothless would be super, super fun. The movie comes out a couple of weeks after the convention, and I had to elicit my build partner, thechrisdotson, who's a signage whiz and electronic wizard, to help us create a life-size version of Toothless to have people interact with here at the convention. So, and we just had 5 weeks of no sleep building it.
Joy with Moana Nui Podcast. Speaking about the life-size displays, interactives, etc., can you tell us what was maybe in your past the most, oh my God, I can't believe this worked because everything went wrong type of experience with putting something out for everybody to play?
You want to take that one? Because I can tell there's lots of them in every build. It's always remarkable when it comes together at the end, usually in the last minutes. I think the head was off of the dragon when the door opened yesterday. We were still putting it together, but
about 10 minutes after we opened, we finally got everything connected and assembled and secured. And I mean, it's an organic process. You think you know how it's going to work, but then once you get the public involved, you change your mind on how it's going to work. And so, yeah, you're constantly shifting and trying to solve new problems that you maybe didn't even anticipate. Yes.
What movie stands in your mind like I love this? Like what movie or show, something that made you want to go into it more in depth?
Wow. Well, for me, I mean, my entire life I knew I wanted to be somehow in the film industry. So I actually went to university for film and television production. And it goes back to Star Wars. Like that first scene where the ship flies over and you got all the laser fire. Like, I even, as a little kid, I was like, I don't know what that is, but I want to be a part of it.
Amen. Yeah, no, it's similar. And then with How to Train Your Dragon specifically, my kids were young when that first came out. And that was a bonding experience for us. It spoke to them in a lot of ways. And I think one of the coolest parts for us in building this was one of our MomoCon partners had come up to see it in the workshop very early on. And the first thing he did was turn his face away, reach up to the nose of the dragon and touch it like Hiccup did. And Chris immediately was like, that's going to be a thing that people do, and we're going to have the dragon respond when that happens. So he built in a haptic sensor that when you put your hand up, and it's surprising, people are not expecting it, but when you do that, and then Toothless closes his eyes and purrs and does what he does in the movie, it brings tears to their eyes because it's such a meaningful thing from the movie. I think bringing that kind of thing to fans is why we do this.
Yeah, that emotional reaction, and we have literally yesterday saw 3 or 4 people cry.
It's just powerful. Yeah.
Hi, Media Nut. So crazy coincidence that you guys just so happen to be here at MomoCon with a beautifully done Toothless creation the same time of the opening of Burke over in Epic Universe in Orlando. Would you say there was some sort of, what are the similarities and differences between how you guys were able to build Toothless here to what went into making Toothless over there that people can interact with? And like, does it all kind of feel the same magic in your opinion?
Oh my goodness! If we have a fraction of the magic that they create there, I mean that team down there, we've been watching them. We're huge fans of what they're doing at the parks, and obviously what we're doing is not connected to the parks and Universal in that way. But like we're a huge fan. We're watching them all the time, and I think mostly I would say we would love to be inspired by what they did. Like what we're doing is an homage to what they're creating down at the parks. It's truly epic.
What has Mark from Bibliography? What are some of your favorite projects that you have worked on with?
I mean, this one is one of the largest physically, right? And so we've been doing this 2.5 years. They're all different. And it's like, what's your favorite kid? They're all just different. The project prior to this, we built a vehicle for Borderlands. We drove it across the country. It was a very tactical vehicle. And so, that was a completely different way of thinking and making and planning. So they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, who knows what's next.
That's a great lead in to my next question. Have y'all kept anything?
We have a lot of the props from the movies that we've done things with. Juan from Ghostbusters that we did an interactive game there. We did Wicked. We have a couple of props from that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We have some of the props that we have that are smaller. The Borderland vehicle was actually auctioned off to charity for Eli Roth's charity. So that we don't have. We wouldn't have parking space for it anyway. This one's definitely going into storage. They've already announced that How to Train Your Dragon 2 is going to be made in live action as well. So we're looking forward to bringing Toothless out with some movie 2 upgrades when we get to that one.
Definitely.
So, I guess with prop design, what got you into more prop designs? Because I about what movies got you in there, but what made you want to actually do props?
For me, that's what I always wanted to do. Like, I mean, again, going back to Star Wars, I knew that wasn't real. I knew it was make-believe, but it looked real. And I'm like, how do you get that? And, from an early kid, I knew that I wanted to somehow do that for, like, a living. And so, growing up, we didn't have internet, but we did have Fangoria magazine and all these other magazines, and I got to see behind the curtain, if you will. And so, my heroes growing up were Rick Baker and Tom Savini and Steve Johnson and Dick Smith, all these guys who were making monsters. And I've always wanted to do it.
Yeah, and I think I got into cosplay in general and prop making because my kids, my oldest's birthday is Halloween night, so Halloween and birthday were always the same time. And it just starts, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we're going to cons and winning contests, and eventually Regal's like, "What? If you're doing that on the side, can you make us a thing?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, let's do this! Like, let's go."
James versus the world. What is a dream project that you think you guys can accomplish feasibly, and one you think is ridiculous but you would love to try with?
Star Wars. We have to have Star Wars in the mix. Like, we need a movie that's going to come out with Star Wars so that we can go ahead and do something for Star Wars.
Yeah. We've already had a lot of ideas and conversations of what we would build for Star Wars.
A full-size AT-AT Walker. No.
I mean,
Maybe an AT-AT.
Don't tease me.
we could do something.
Yeah.
We couldn't get it in the building.
You can do all things.
You could do the tauntaun that they cut open, and the people could get inside it and take pictures.
You make snow inside too?
Maybe that's the popcorn container that Regal can have is the tauntaun that you get the popcorn out of.
That's nice. We wouldn't want that.
As prop designers, what are your thoughts towards studios moving more towards computer animation and CGI in your projects?
Well, I mean, I'm glad I didn't take that as a career because about the time I would have been doing that is when that transition started to happen. But, you know, I think digital is another tool. And when it came out, it became the tool for everything. And then we started to get a lot of pushback. We started to see films just not perform well, get bad reviews because everything was digital. And it really was Jurassic Park with Stan Winston Studios, life-size T-Rex that was really there, that studios went, oh, maybe digital's not everything. But it's a great tool, you know, and so it does have its place like any other tool.
And it's definitely slid back to a little bit more practical.
Oh,
You see that in a lot of production now, is that they're doing a nice mix of the two. And that really is the best of both worlds.
Guillermo del Toro does a lot of practical. Every film he does is practical. Yes.
Going back to something a little bit more fun for each of you, going into more your nerdy side while still celebrating this massive accomplishment with How to Train Your Dragon. With your time here at MomoCon, and obviously this is a bit of a crossover situation already with like Regal Cinemas and all these wonderful, talented voice actors and stars here. Who would you, if you want a character from any of these celebrities here, what character would you genuinely love to see interact with Toothless during your time here at MomoCon?
We've already had a Hiccup and an Astra stop by, which that was pretty special to have cosplayers that cosplay as characters from the movie get to interact with the life-size Toothless. That was pretty special.
I mean, we had one of the animators from Lilo and Stitch.
That's true.
And really spent some time with Toothless and really was drawn into the experience. And that's what it's all about for us, is that experience.
A lot of fans online tend to connect Stitch with Toothless a lot. If you look online on like social media, there's like so many little comics and images of the two characters interacting, and I've always found it so interesting.
Yeah, it's a director. So, I mean, you definitely have some connections
There's some
between them.
crossover.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you could pick a movie that you didn't build a prop or display for, what would be like your dream movie to build something for?
Outside of Star Wars, we take Star Wars off the table.
I mean, yeah, that's tough. I mean, if I'm thinking of the films of the fandoms that I like, right? I mean, Star Wars, Batman. I mean, there's a handful of things I'm like, I would love to do something for that. I don't know what I would build. I mean, my bucket list includes building a Batman.
I was going to say, yeah.
Where's that car? This question.
The 89 key.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
interested.
Yeah, 89
The
key.
89 key Batman.
That'll get paid at some point.
At some point. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so y'all talk about how Regal does popcorn buckets for the movies.
Yep.
What's the best one you've seen and what's the worst one you've seen?
How to Train Your Dragon is really awesome. Like, it's super cute. The head lifts up to have popcorn inside of it. That's super cute. The one that we just did for Mission Impossible is really cool because it's got, you pop the top, you have two keys you have to combine and then stick it in and turn the knob and it pops up. It's very much like solving the riddle box that is the Mission Impossible movies. So those are two that I've really liked. I don't know, do you have a favorite?
I mean, those are great. I mean, the one that is like great in spite of itself, I think, was the Dune bucket that everybody raved about, but you know, that wasn't a Regal one. So we're talking about that one.
Last question.
Now, for both of you, having been in this industry for as long as you have and the accomplishments you have, something got you here. Something inspired you. I know you mentioned Star Wars, so this is probably the easy one for you. But what is you guys' nerdy origin story? Like, what happened?
Age 5 Star Wars, the original. Yeah, that started a whole world of loving sci-fi, loving fantasy, loving those kind of stories and tales. And yeah, I mean, like Chris, I wanted to be involved in some way. At some point, it was probably like I want to make the movies, but I think being connected to and working for Regal, I've got to do so many fun projects about movie going, which I think production is great and really cool, but you're not with an audience when you're doing it, right? So what's fun for us is that we get to see the audience interact in real time with what we're doing, and that's extra special. Like I almost like that better than the idea of making a movie and then waiting to see someone react to it later. Is like we get to physically interact with so many more people by building something and having it physically there for them to play with and hold and get in and push buttons and experience.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it is really seeing that, and seeing how people engage with it, you know, and seeing that emotional reaction. You know, that's the reward. That's what I really love about doing it.
All right, and can you tell everybody how they can continue to connect with the two of you as they see about your builds and things like that with Regal Cinemas?
Yep, so my handles are AGeekInTheMaking, and your handle is?
And mine is thechrisdotson, CHRISDOTSON.
And then at Regal Movies is Regal's handle, and they're posting a lot of what we do because that's what we're making it for, so those three are the handles.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.